The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Women's Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericawomen.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Do you have aspirations to be a leader in your business or organization? Welcome to Leadership Stars with your host, Linda Patten. Each week, we feature true leaders, recognized in their fields, who provide insight and ideas in creating a strong team and how you can become an effective leader. Now, here is Linda Patten.
Hi, and welcome to Leadership Stars, where, as they said, we are going to interview real leaders in the areas of network distribution, entrepreneurship, and government. And these are people who have stepped boldly and unapologetically into leadership and who will share their views on all aspects of creating and leading powerful teams. I'm your host, Linda Patten. And I've been guiding leaders to uncover core strengths, to inspire with shared vision, and to realize their true expertise. I've been developing leaders for over 40 years. I did start when I was 2, both inside organizations and independently for the last 5 years with Dare to Dream with Linda as a coach, a mentor, and a guide. I also get a chance to speak internationally. I am a best-selling author, and I did create The Art of Herding Cats, Leading Teams of Leaders, a program where I take leaders through the 12 steps. Yes, it is a recovery program for reluctant leaders of how to be your best leadership and to bring that to your team. So this month, the month of December, the topic is around mindset. And my first 2 guests are just amazing in mindset and in brain work. And so I want to ask you some questions to get started. So do you believe that your thinking limits your success? Just think about it. What a concept to be able to truly realize what we desire. If so, then we have the ability to change our mindset, to overcome doubts, fears, and insecurities, and to use the areas of our brain that are easiest and effortless for us rather than struggling to get the results that we want. What if, instead of being disappointed in our results, and just changing the actions to get those results, and then still not reaching the mark yet again? What if we changed our thinking and our feeling, and thus was able to change our mindset? Picture how that would look. How would that feel? To know that you have the ability to really achieve your greatest visions. It's really all up to you. And today we have 2 of the most powerful people I know speaking on that. And the first one I'd like to introduce is Cary Valentine. Cary, how are you?
Aloha, Linda. It is fantastic to be here. I'm doing wonderful.
And Cary, I'm great. And Cary, are you sitting at the beach by any chance?
I wish, but I'm looking at the ocean right now.
So, audience, if you haven't figured it out, Cary is in Hawaii, and you're on the beautiful island of Kauai, which is called the Garden Island, right?
Yes, that is true.
Terrific. And so, Cary, could you just tell our audience just a little bit about you? And I know you're the creator of a proven and innovative patent pending system that will, help turn doubts, fears, and insecurities inside out. So can you tell us just a little bit more about you, your background, and how you got into this aspect of mindset?
For sure. And actually, I love to share about this, and that's why I'm so passionate, is because, in a sense, I'm a poster boy for the reluctant leader, as you would call it, essentially, I was extremely shy as a child and with incredibly low self-esteem. The environment that I was in was not also, supportive in terms of the upbringing in my home and school and things like that, different challenges that were going on there. So all those things definitely added to me being so shy that I actually mumbled for the first 13 years of my life.
Oh, wow.
And yes, so, I wasn't trying to be smart aleck in school or something, but when the teacher would ask me, like, Cary, what's the answer to this? I'd be like, and they'd be like, what? And you couldn't hear me. So I want to say, though, these were the elements that added to who I was, but I saw that later in life, these were the perfect experiences for me to transform who I was. So like being Mumbles, which my father called me that as a kid, and I think in his best way, he tried to that was his best tactic to try to get me to speak up, but it didn't really work. Mm-hmm. But the piece was, these were things that I saw later on that were trying to show me who I really was inside. I was not the mumbler, quiet, shy person. Yes, that's a part of me, but there was also something else, which is so exciting, which I want to share with you later today about this. But I would say drumming was really my voice when I started very young, and what really got me out of speaking mumble, being so shy and being a mumbler was, I think, hormones kicked in at 13 and Robin Williams.
Okay. We'll have to hear.
The comedy of Robin Williams just changed my life, and so these were the helpful tools. All of a sudden I became a stand-up comedian and wouldn't shut up. But then it was like, well, where's the real Cary? Cary went from being so shy to never shutting up at all, and being a smart aleck and all of that. Where was the real Cary? And it took a long time to get to the real Cary, because that was deep in my heart. And I just didn't know, and I didn't have the tools how to safely express and communicate my truest heart feelings until years later.
Terrific, Cary. And we'll hear more about that in his segment today on the program. And my other guest is the brain lady, Julie Anderson. And Julie and I have known each other for a little over a year. We've been on stages sort of back to back and that kind of thing. Julie, I'd like to welcome you today on our program. And would you mind telling us just a quick snippet about you that will lead into your segment?
Well, thank you very much, Linda, for having me here. It is a pleasure. I always enjoy being with you and visiting with you and talking with you, so this is great. Thank you for this honor. A little bit about me. Well, I am a self-admitted brain geek, brain addict. I pretty much fell in love with all things neuroscience about going on 23 years now, and have just been an avid reader and studier of all things coming out of the field of neuroscience as it applies to becoming more, doing more, and understanding more. So how it applies to benefiting your life, your relationships, and your feelings of self-worth and your success in life. So it's just, neuroscience is fascinating, the brain is fascinating, and when we learn how to maximize, you kind of mentioned it in the beginning, when we learn how to maximize our natural brain strengths and understand the differences between your brain strengths and someone else's brain strengths, it improves every aspect of our life, relationships, and business. So that's kind of me. I'm a mom of 3 kids, homeschooled my kids for 16 years, and the information on the brain was incredibly beneficial to get me through that time without losing all of my sanity. I lost a little bit, but I like to think I maintained the majority of it. So that's me in a nutshell. Just anything and everything to do with the brain, and I love sharing it, and I love public speaking and bringing that message out to people to help empower them in their lives and relationships.
Oh, that's terrific, Julie. Thank you so very, very much. I know I'm not a brain geek, but I have studied many of the personality assessments, so DISC and others like that, where you look at, are they fast talkers, slow talkers, are they relationship-oriented, are they task-oriented, and that kind of thing. And I know you go beyond that, and we're going to talk more about that in your segment when we look at, how can you be more productive in your day by using just the right portions of your brain, knowing where your sweet spot is so that you're not struggling on a daily basis on how am I going to get this stuff done. I know I have a wonderful friend who hates Excel spreadsheets. And of course, I love Excel spreadsheets. So whenever I have to send her something for we're trying to choose a location to do a particular program or something along those lines. And, I have to talk it through to her because sending her a spreadsheet is just, she won't even look at it. So as you can see, we're going to have some really fun experiences in the next segment. And so think about where you're challenged with your mindset. Where is it that you're having some roadblocks and that kind of thing? And we'll see you in the next episode.
Yes. You're talking to me.
Nope. And after this, we'll be back with Cary and Julie.
Voice America Women's Channel, a leader in the forward movement of women's success.
Linda Patten draws from her 4 decades of leadership experience and her heartfelt passion to show women how to lead, dream, and create what inspires them. Her signature training programs and workshops will guide you through the key skills you need to own your leadership power, build your resources, plan your path, and take the actions that will translate your vision into reality. Start by scheduling a free, no-obligation 30-minute strategy session with Linda Patten. Contact her at linda@daretodreamwithlinda.com. That's linda@dare2dreamwithlinda.com.
Have you friended us on Facebook yet? Why not? Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for the keywords Voice America. Once you are part of our Facebook network, you'll receive daily messages about what's happening with our shows, this week's featured guests, and new happenings at the Voice America Talk Radio Network. And you can add your voice to the always active discussions on our timeline. Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for Voice America.
Voice America Women's Channel, a leader in the forward movement of women's success.
You are listening to Leadership Stars with Linda Patten. To reach the show today, please call 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Linda at daretodreamwithlinda.com. Now, back to Leadership Stars.
Welcome back. It's always great fun to talk to both of these wonderful people. I got a chance to actually meet Cary when I was in Kauai on a retreat, and we had probably one of the most rich sit-downs and just talking about backgrounds and what we did and where we went and this kind of thing. And, I know that Cary's been working with the Champion Your Inner Game of Success peak performance systems for business leaders, direct marketing teams, real estate agents, pro golfers, world-class musicians and actors, and really helps them to increase their success and vitality by incorporating your easy-to-use system. So, Cary, tell us just a little bit about this system and how it all comes together.
Perfect. Thank you, Linda, for that. I'll get straight to the core. I think that most people want to have more success and more joy in their life than they're experiencing. And if we really pull it back, we find that what's in the way is doubts, fears, and insecurities for most people. Wouldn't you agree?
I would so agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, for me, as I said, I'm like the poster boy for this because I was really haunted by doubts, fears, and insecurities all my life. Through as I grew up, from a kid, adolescence, being a business person, and all of that, until I hit a low point of depression, and I had tried yoga, meditation, therapy, all these kind of things, which did help, Linda, but didn't stop the negative voices in my head until there was an epiphany moment. And basically that moment happened that something spoke in my head that said, hey, Cary, did you ever stop and realize that all the fears, all the doubts, all the insecurities that are, that you hear in your head are not your enemies. They're your friends. And I'm like, Cary, say what?
So, Cary, you're talking about the top factors that would slow down someone achieving their leadership goals is the doubts, fears, and insecurities. Is that what you're saying?
Totally. Yes. And some, like you spoke earlier about the DISC personality assessment, and I see that there are certain personalities that, even though they have the doubts, they're still strong enough to succeed in what they want to do. But there are many people who those doubts, fears, and insecurities come up, and that stops them or certainly slows them in their tracks. And what I'm so passionate to share with people is get excited because the doubts are your friends. One quick thing about that, if you were to re-scramble the word doubt, you'd find two words in it, T-O-B-U-D, to bud. And so, again, what would you consider for those who are listening that instead of running, instead of being afraid, instead of when you're excited to put forth this new business plan or new creative piece or new relationship, and you hear, oh, that's not going to work, or that's a silly idea, or he or she's not really into you, you stop and you turn it around. You listen to it. You don't deny it. You don't push it away. You accept it. You go, wow, I just heard I stink. I just heard that this is a silly business idea. Okay, can I accept that? That's the first question I'd ask you, because I accept it. It's a truth. It's an opinion. It's not the only truth. Okay? And then the beautiful thing is turn it around. If you heard it's not going to be a success, what is happening, your inner subconscious is trying to get you to strengthen your core of love and confidence in yourself by giving you that test. It's like an inner Mickey for Rocky, the Mickey and Rocky story. Hey, you bum, you could have been something. And he's testing Rocky's resolve. So your doubts are testing your own personal resolve to find your confidence, to turn it around. That when you said it can't happen, it's really saying it's waiting to happen. And the question is, are you ready to step up to it? Yes, you need tools. Yes, you need skills to get there, but it's not saying you can't do it. It's saying you can do it. So that's one of the passionate things I want for people to hear today, to consider that.
Well, and Cary, I think it's very interesting that you talk about opinions, and that's something that everyone has. They have an opinion about something, and it's just that. It's an opinion. And I think we, when we're receiving that opinion, need to, as you said, look at it. Is it truth? And if it's truth, then maybe there's something I need to do with it. But if it's not truth and it's just, again, their opinion, then taking that, flipping it upside down, and actually using it to be even stronger and to be more successful in what you're doing. So are those some of the suggestions that you have on how to maintain passion when you're leading others? Because there are so many ups and downs in business that you can get really down on yourself. You can get down on your team if you're not passionate about it.
Yes, beautiful question. So again, just like when you said an opinion is happening, it's a opinion, it's a voice, it's not the whole picture. So just when challenges or the downs are happening in your business, or things aren't going the way you want it, it's a moment. And it may be real. We're talking now real, not stuff in your head. We're talking real challenges that you're finding in your business. And it's easy for most people, what I call, to my little jargon, biting into that poisoned apple. And again, I would say, don't be the dog that just bites into the bone and won't let it go, the play toy. Right. Breathe into it, accept it, be in your heart and question yourself. Am I really into this business or, into my leadership? And if the answer is yes, then it again is to accept the challenge at the moment. And I would again say, get excited, because the challenge is not where you're headed. It's just something that's happening at the moment, and it's inviting you to go forward. I mean, if we look and study, and discuss many businesses and many business people who've had successes, many of them had failure after failure after failure, but they knew inside, before they had their big success, they knew something was inside of them. And they kept going, the persistence, the desire. And not only that, Linda, those who have achieved success, who have then lost it all, found that many of those have achieved success again. Why? Simply from the place of knowing, hey, I did this before. Yeah, I'm down in the dumps right now, but I can get myself out of it. And that's the thing, not to believe in the opinion, not to believe in the challenge of the moment, of the down moment. It's going to change. If there's one thing that's going to happen, we'll know that this too will transform. This too will change. When? We don't know, but it begins with ourself, to begin to put into our subconscious, the change starts now, and the change starts with me. I choose to believe in my success now. Start saying that when you're in a challenging place, and you will sustain the passion. The passion will rise up and be birthed again. This is like watering our garden. But at the same time, like if you have a great recipe of a cheesecake recipe that you had to have from a friend that you had this dessert the other night,
yes.
Right? Okay, and you're like, oh, this is amazing. I got to have the recipe. And she's reluctant, but she goes, all right, I'll give it to you. It's my grandmother's recipe. And if you want to recreate it, you got to follow that recipe step by step. And that's what I'm sharing a little bit about here today, is that there is recipes for success and turning the doubts around, but you got to follow them, and you got to do them day to day, almost hour by hour, especially at the beginning, and especially when you start feeling the negative voices playing out and that heavy cloud coming. That's just a sign. It's inviting you to, like, hey, knock on your door. Hey, have you remembered to put in your anchor of loving yourself, or of the anchor of success, which is simply, again, one of them is, I choose to be successful now. And of course, not to deny your feelings of it all, and that's another process. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, and Cary, it's interesting. You are a man, and one of the things that you are speaking a lot about is the feminine energies. And in just a really short answer, how do we as women step into that feminine energy and recognize the fact that as a leader, you don't need to be like a man. You don't have to be a man in a dress. That you can use those energies. And how do we coax our masculine counterparts to do the same? And you've got about 2 minutes.
Beautiful. Well, the piece is, for one thing, there's nothing more powerful than a sweet woman. Okay. So we got to switch our mindset, and women not to be like men. Women, be yourselves, especially in a business setting. We need you. We as men need you. We don't need you to be a man. We need you to be a strong woman into your integral heart, in your intuition, and your heartfelt integrity. So when people are this way, whether a man or a female, but I'm speaking more now to females, we feel it. And so when you're a leader and there's a challenge that's going on and you address it head on, in an honest, integral, integrity way, and then say, hey, but let's get back to work. Let's make these changes. People feel that, right? People sense that. And when you're giving them a bunch of BS, they feel it too. So do you want the team to be behind you? If so, admit the challenges that you may have caused or may have happened, or an oversight, or someone in the system, in your company, but don't push them away, use that experience to accept them, because none of us are perfect. And that's, I think, the biggest thing. We're all, if we don't have from leadership the place to make a mistake, then we're, so afraid. And from that fear, we're not achieving our greatness either. So I say to really be in the heart and allow, if we're allowing the mistakes, then we're allowing the inspiration too.
Okay. And Cary, that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I agree. I think women need, one, to admit that they can make mistakes, and it's okay. They're not going to destroy someone's life because of it. And so with that last thought, we're going to run off to a break and come back and hear Julie Anderson talk to us about the brain.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Let leadership expert Linda Patten be your guide to uncovering the leader that lives within you and that you are meant to be. Through her signature training programs and workshops, Linda takes you every step of the way to help you tap into your personal leadership power, design a clear vision, build a loyal, effective team, and create a practical plan to make your dream come true. Get started now by scheduling a free, no-obligation 30-minute strategy session with Linda Patten. Contact her at linda@daretodreamwithlinda.com. That's linda@dreamwithlinda.com.
Have you had a chance to check out Voice America's online magazine and blog, Press Pass? If you love our hosts and shows, check out articles that give an even deeper perspective. Plus topics about health and fitness, movie reviews, philosophy, business tips and tactics, spirituality, positive thought, current events, and even more about your favorite host. It's just a click away at vapresspass.com. That's vapresspass.com. VA Press Pass by Voice America. All access, all the time.
Voice America Women. Your passion starts here.
You are listening to Leadership Stars with Linda Patten. To reach the show today, please call 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Linda at daretodreamwithlinda.com. Now, back to Leadership Stars.
Welcome back. And this segment is going to be so powerful. As I said, one of my favorite people to listen to is Julie Anderson. And I learn something new every time I hear her speak. She is passionate about the brain. She's passionate about neuroscience. And yet there's a fun, there's humor there. It's not the droll stuff that you had in college where, they droned on and on and on. I love listening to Julie speak about the brain because it really brings it to life and how it can support what Cary was talking about as far as doubts, fears, and insecurities. What is it within the brain that we can utilize to get us to our best success? So Julie, welcome to this segment, and it's good to have you here.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Oh, you're so welcome. Some question. There are so many details and functions and deadlines and things that people in business have to do today. That how does an entrepreneur succeed? How does a network distribution leader succeed when they've got so many things on their plate that have to be done, and there's only 24 hours in a day?
Well, you kind of mentioned it. It's a very good question, and it's something that stumps a lot of entrepreneurs and individuals who feel they're solopreneurs. And I think that's a bad word. I'll explain in a minute.
Yes.
From achieving success. Those details are absolutely the enemy of every entrepreneur, because it's hard for them to keep all of those straight and keep them all done. And when you're looking at the brain in terms of literally brain strengths, there's areas of our brain, you mentioned it earlier, that we use with a greater amount of ease. And when we're talking neuroscience, literally less energy, micronutrition, and oxygen burned in certain areas of your brain. And once you identify those gifted areas, you're also able to identify the areas that you're not gifted in.
Yeah.
And this is why I say for a solopreneur, I don't like that term, because it indicates or it implies that you're going to have to do this journey on your own. You're solo at it. And yet the truly successful individuals, they have teams, whether those teams are actual employees or those people that they rely on for amazing support and mindset, constant encouragement, to individuals that they literally outsource these detailed work that are not there in their wheelhouse. It's not their strength area. That is so incredibly important. Literally, you will be saving yourself energy. And we've all heard it from coaches and consultants. You focus on what's going to make you the $100 an hour and pay somebody to do the stuff that's $20 an hour.
Exactly.
But think of it now, turn it into neuroscience, because literally what you're doing is you are focusing on those things that only take you 1/100th the amount of energy to work in, which this is what neuroscience is helping us to understand. You focus on those things that just flow naturally. You build the programs and the products and the dynamic systems, and then you pay somebody else or you outsource to someone else to do those things that take 100 times as much energy. And that is going to save you tremendously in your brain energy bank, and you're going to constantly be making positive deposits into that brain energy bank, as opposed to just constantly doing withdrawals and then eventually becoming overdrawn.
Yeah, and that's a serious concern with people when you're so burned out that you don't even want to look at your business. There's nothing in it that excites you any longer because you have been working in that area that you have no business being in. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And when you're talking about, the mindset, because this is kind of the success mindset, that's your theme for December, which I think is really important. I have this 6 B's, B as in B-E, the 6 B's of success. And one of them is to be positive. And if you are constantly making this drain on your brain, it's hard to be positive. It's hard to be positive when you're like, oh my goodness, I have to go do this. I have to do this spreadsheet. Isn't that what you mentioned earlier? A person who
yes.
hates spreadsheets. I have to go in because, your brain procrastinates it because it knows this is going to be labor intensive for me to do. And therefore, it's not going to make me happy. So I'm going to go switch the washes, or I'm going to go do something that's going to be, I'm going to medicate somehow, So it's important. It's a neuroscience that has such a practical application and understanding the difference between having that positive success mindset and one that you're constantly behind the 8 ball on.
Well, Julie, it's interesting because, when I started this business, I actually turned to my coach and I said, I don't have a website. I don't write, so I'll not do blogs, and I probably never write a book. I don't do radio and television. I really don't like that. I will speak in front of groups of people, but probably 30 is the most that I'll do. And social media, just not something that I'm really excited about. And needless to say, in 3 years, I have a website. I've got close to 200 blogs. I've written a book in 3 chapters. Obviously, I'm on the radio, and I've done television shows as well. But the area that still is a challenge for me is social media. So how do I break through that sense that, oh my God, I'm almost overwhelmed with it? And so is that just something that's not in my sweet spot?
It's possible. It's possible that sometimes when we look at the big, huge picture, it becomes very overwhelming. Instead of just looking at it in bite-sized pieces. And there are, for the average entrepreneur, there are so many extra tools out there that can be used. For example, I make use of something called Hootsuite all the time. And I just one day a week I can pre-program the bulk. Now I'm not saying that you shouldn't be interactive and engage with your connections on Facebook. That does, on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. You want to do that to germinate those really good, deep relationships. But in terms of getting a lot of information out there, it makes a wonderful, it's not overwhelming because you're just doing it all. You just get in there, you do it for an hour, and then you're done. So sometimes taking it in bite-sized portions. I talk to people about sandwiching their difficult things as well, or bookending it. Yeah, so you have these things that invigorate you that like make the deposits in your brain energy bank. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you start out your day with that. Start filling your energy bank. Do something that's going to get you positive, that's going to get you just on fire. Then when I have my big 2-day events, I always give every attendee a timer. And I say, set that timer for 45 minutes max. Mm-hmm. And during those 45 minutes, you're going to work on the labor-intensive stuff. You're going to work on those things that are overwhelming for you. And you're going to limit it to 30, 45 minutes maximum. And what that does is immediately you're telling your brain, this is a short-lived thing. I'm not going to, you're calming your subconscious, because when your brain gets stressed out, the amygdala takes over. The amygdala is this little tiny thing that controls your fight and flight and your fear, all of these negative emotions. And what happens is when your brain, when you tell your brain, oh, I've got to do this thing that's overwhelming, your amygdala goes, oops, danger, Will Robinson, I got to do something about this. And it takes your oxygen away from your thinking portion of the brain. And it does this whole other host of things that takes too long to explain right now. But in short, it makes it incredibly difficult for you to do that. But if you tell your brain in the beginning, you say, look, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I'm going to set this timer. When that goes off, I'm free. I'm breaking the chains. I'm going to go do something fun again that's going to redeposit into my brain energy bank. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to dance for 2 minutes. I'm going to go outside. Yes. I'm going to get a fresh breath of air. And literally, your brain listens to what your mind is saying. So what you're thinking in your mind at any given moment is causing a physical reaction in your brain and the way the neurotransmitters communicate and are produced. So you've got to really be careful what you're thinking. So if you're thinking, look, this is short term, I just got to get this done, when the timer goes off, I'm going to be okay. It calms the subconscious. It calms that automated response to protect you that the brain will sometimes kick into. So that's what I call the bookending or the sandwiching, putting those really labor-intensive things in between things that are fun.
Great. I like that idea, although, and it's something that's been suggested as, 30 minutes, that's it, set a timer. When it's done, you move on to other things. And I find I resist even setting a timer for 30 minutes. It's like, no, there's other things that I could do that would be much more impactful. And yet I know that connection, that engagement is really something that's very important. It's just tricking my brain into making that happen. So, Julie, one last thing. We've got about 2 more minutes. What's you say that there's a formula to build a business that doesn't lead you right into overwhelm and burnout and all of that. And in 2 minutes, can you give us a quick look at that?
Yeah, it's really important that you know what you're getting into and that you're realistic about what you're trying to build. And I'm not saying that you should not shoot for the stars. Absolutely, by all means. Go in, think big. I mean, I have a whole world that I want to conquer here, right? So that's okay, but the average entrepreneur just focuses on the big picture and forgets to narrow down to the day-to-day details that need to be accomplished. Mm-hmm. So the formula is really figuring out where your natural brain strengths are. So do something that's going to really help you focus on these are the things where I am gifted in, and these are the areas that I'm not necessarily gifted in. And then you begin to really outsource those things, or you sandwich those things. You put those things in a manageable, bite-sized system. But the overall thing is you have to be very clear and concise about your goals. You have to make sure that you're never comparing your success to somebody else's success, because that leads to negative emotions. And remember, the brain's going to listen. So you've always got to stay on that positive bent and really make it, be consistent and persistent. There are going to be days when you don't want to do it, but if success is your overall goal, do something that's in that creative space, and then come back and do the take a bite-sized chunk and outsource as much as you possibly can.
Okay, Julie, we'll talk about that in just a little bit more detail in our next segment. And stay tuned, because they both have something vital to share with you at the end of the program.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Let leadership expert Linda Patten be your guide to uncovering the leader that lives within you and that you are meant to be. Through her signature training programs and workshops, Linda takes you every step of the way to help you tap into your personal leadership power, design a clear vision, build a loyal, effective team, and create a practical plan to make your dream come true. Get started now by scheduling a free, no-obligation 30-minute strategy session with Linda Patten. Contact her at linda@daretodreamwithlinda.com. That's linda@dare2dreamwithlinda.com.
Have you had a chance to check out Voice America's online magazine and blog, Press Pass? If you love our hosts and shows, check out articles that give an even deeper perspective. Plus topics about health and fitness, movie reviews, philosophy, business tips and tactics, spirituality, positive thought, current events, and even more about your favorite host. It's just a click away at vapresspass.com. That's vapresspass.com. VA Press Pass by Voice America. All access, all the time.
Voice America Women. Your passion starts here.
You are listening to Leadership Stars with Linda Patten. To reach the show today, please call 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Linda at daretodreamwithlinda.com. Now, back to Leadership Stars.
Welcome back. I'm so glad that you're all here and that you've been listening very intently to these two powerful individuals on doubts, fears, insecurities, and how to use your brain in such a way that it really serves you and that you can do all that you need to do without burning out, without becoming depressed, without doubting that you can do all the things that you need to do to make it happen. And, we're coming to the end of the year and we're beginning to look at 2017. And I'm sure some of you have started to set your vision. Some of you may have even put together your content calendar for next year. You have an idea of what your launches look like and that kind of thing. But I think it's really important for us to also use the subconscious and to use some of the tools that Cary has shared with us, using the sweet spot in your brain so that you're working as efficiently and effectively and passionately as you can, as Julie talked about. And so what I'd like to do is sort of get two things from our guests before we close today. One is you all have an offer that you are offering the audience today, as well as I'd like one last tip before we close today. So, Cary, let's start with you. What's the free gift that you have for our listening audience?
Super. Thank you, Linda. The free gift is basically a free special report to turn your doubts inside out and experience more leadership, success, and joy. So this special report is going to go more in depth of what we're talking about today and give you that recipe, how to go from one step after the next to turn the doubts inside out. And just as another fun thing, included in this special report will be a fun relationship questionnaire, either for singles or couples. And it's both basically how to assess where you are in your relationship or relationship to be and how to sustain a joyous, lasting, juicy relationship. so folks can and really get there. And no BS. It's true. It can sustain, no doubt. Because again, all what we're talking about here, if you keep holding it and putting it in, and these thoughts, then you're going to have it. It's not hard. It's just new. So folks can get that at my website, which is caryvalentine.net, and that's CARY, Valentine, like Valentine's Day.net. And so, yeah.
That's terrific, Cary. And I have to tell you that I've been married for 42 years, and my husband can still curl my toes. So I understand
I love that, baby.
How to have a really great relationship with someone you love. So, Julie, tell us a little bit about your free gift, and then we'll come back for the one last tip from both of you.
Well, I've got those 3 B's of success. So it's a report or a PDF that you can download that really helps you walk you through those 3 very important mindset tips, what you have to have set in your brain to really achieve the things that you do, and how that's going to affect the neurochemistry in your brain, and how that's going to lead and help you make those steps to success.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get that at
it's
yourbestmindonline.com/bonus.
Sounds fabulous. So I definitely have, a tip in the fact that, you need to work with your limo driver because he is the person in your subconscious who, in essence, drives you where you want to go. If you're not giving him or her the right directions, you'll go where you don't want to go. And I was in a class at one time, and they talked about going to Barstow. And that's not your vision. That's not where you want your business to go. But somehow you keep ending up in Barstow because you're not directing your limo driver as to where you want to go and what you want to see. And so making that a powerful statement is a tip for you from me today. And so, Cary, do you have one last tip for our audience?
Yes. So if you're wanting more success or more financial success, and, these are, I think, things that you're going to be talking about in the rest of the month about money and things, and how Julie was sharing about be consistent, working on what you're doing. And the piece that I would say is be consistent, be positive, yes, but expect the doubts to show up. Expect them. No, I'm not crazy. Expect them, because if you're expecting them and you have the tools that we're sharing about today, they're not a worry for you. You actually embrace them, because the doubt, when it shows up, it's saying success is right around the corner. If you go through this piece and turn it around, when the doubt shows up, it's just, again, knocking on your door to say, hey, pump it up a little bit more, because something great is about to happen, even though at the moment it may not appear at all. So don't worry about the doubts. Embrace them and accept them and anticipate them to be there. Then there's nothing to worry about. They're your friends. They're your friends, not your enemies.
Cary, can I bring in one more thing along with that? Is
yes.
The whole feminine energy. How do we encourage women to use their feminine energy in leadership, and then how do we bring men into that? And just real quickly on that.
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful thing. It's, that feminine sweetness is so desirable. It's so, it's when you're in that, it's right, it's that passion. And again, from the relationship side of things, men want, when they connect up with women, not in a business sense, in a personal piece, they want the sweetness. So I would say extend that sweetness in business too. And use your brains, use your smarts, yes, but also bring forth that heartfelt integrity.
Awesome. Okay. Julie, one last tip on how to use that brain efficiently so that it doesn't fall into the amygdala, but you're actually using the pieces of your brain that give you the most probability of being successful.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on what's already been said. I mean, obviously, I'm all about the positive, the positive. So using every single thing you can, from meditation to stick-em notes to, and it's not just affirmations. I'm not talking about positive affirmations. There have been some interesting information coming out on that. I'm talking about literally positive words. When you start to switch and shift your negatives to the positive, it changes the chemistry in your brain. There's a lot of research being done on literally the effect on the amygdala and negative words. So switch everything into a positive is key, but don't have it kind of like he was saying earlier about the doubts that they're going to be there. And the failures are going to be there too. That's part of growth. And if you look at a failure with a positive bent, in other words, you don't look at this and say, oh, this means I'm not capable, or this means I'm doing something wrong. It gives you a chance to reevaluate, stand back and go, wait a minute, how do I learn from this, and how do I be flexible and utilize the lesson to create more success? Because guaranteed, if you look at incredibly successful people, they have a whole list of failures.
Oh, yes.
So it's learn from them. Don't let those become a negative and stump you. Learn from them and use it to move forward and catapult you to the next success.
Okay, wasn't it Albert Einstein who said he knew 1,000 different ways to not make a light bulb?
There you go.
I think that's so true.
Right?
Yeah, it's looking at those failures or those not successes as a stepping stone to reaching what your vision is and where you want to go and how you want to get there. Teaching your limo driver where you and how you want to get there. And I think that both of those are really, really, really critical, is to I used to do closeout and evaluation. So what things went well, what things didn't go so well, and how can we turn that around so that next time it will be strong, powerful, and we will be highly successful. And I think this whole thing about mindset is, again, it's all up to you. Think about it. Think about your thoughts and the types of feelings that they engender. Why is it we don't like scary movies when we know that it's a scary movie and it's not real, and yet our feelings still pop up? So until next time, when we bring in Mindset for Profit, I'm going to close with a thank you to both Cary and to Julie for being with us today, and say, positive mindset is all up to you. Thank you, and have a great week.
Thank you for tuning in to Leadership Stars. Please join Linda Patten for another engaging edition of our program next Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Women's Channel. We'll feature another noted leader next week.
Thanks again for listening to the preceding program, brought to you on the Voice America Women's Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericawomen.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the preceding program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.